Hey everyone, traders, friends, and family. Welcome to statistically my most profitable day of the week. That's why I spell it Wednesday, W-I-N-S-D-A-Y. Let's hop into some stocks that you requested and that I think might be moving, look at some analysis, talk about them, and enrich lives together. You rock. I'll see you in the video. Hey traders from around the world, what's going on? It's Jeremy Alexander Newsome with reallifetrading.com. What an interesting day today was. It was a Wednesday, spelled with an I. So that's good news, but barely. I think I'm up like $100 on the day or something. Pretty small. Gustavo has a 270 put sale for June on the SPY. We are chop-y. Yesterday, I did make the proclamation that SPY would gap down and trade higher in the afternoon room. And that is what's happening. Here's the 5-minute chart, and I did play a position just in case it didn't bounce, and I was very happy with my loss. I did go bearish on the 5-minute chart when SPY closed below here with increasing volume just in case it broke lower, but it did not. The stop was up here, so I had a nice, it was actually a little bit higher than that. Stop was 74 right here. So once this candle broke above the 20, got out for like 0.48 Rs of a loss on SPY. And I was happy with that. Just want to have a position on it just in case it did as a little bit of a hedge, because we do have some bullish positions out there as some swing trades, and just, you know, want to see what would happen. Right now, we are choppy on the SPY, so we'll see what happens. Apple gapped down to fill the gap it had yesterday. I mentioned to some traders that this would be an island reversal on the hourly chart if the gap did not fill. White candle, gapping up, trade up, retested. So it did fill the gap, and right now Apple is just hanging out in between the long-term moving averages. So it will be down here for a bit. Google, a lot of people in the Iron Condor on Google with us, 1090, 1060, 1250, 1260 Condor. So both those are pretty much 100 points away from where we are now, and Google is trading pretty sideways. I do have a wager that Google will fill this entire gap before the end of September. We will see if that happens. Had a lot of requests today, so thank you for getting those in. I appreciate it immensely. Intel, a lot of people wondering what Intel is going to do. And my overall thought on Intel is it is pretty low at this particular juncture. Low indeed. Here's the weekly chart, and Intel coming back down into the support for 5 weeks of selling in a row. And today is Wednesday, and right now you have a doji down here on Intel. I wouldn't specifically be going short down here. If you're looking at playing Intel, it probably is going to be a little bit of a longer term play. Dividends have been paid out not too recently. It's a long-term, pretty boring approach, but it would be a buy low, sell high type of move on Intel. Based on today's candle, if we do break out of here bullish tomorrow, which, I mean, could happen, that would be a really nice little pop, and I'd look to go long. Gustavo with a $48 put sale is looking at getting put some shares on Intel in June, potentially if it closes below 48, which I think it will. And then again, here's the monthly perspective of Intel, and we could go a little bit lower. I think worst case scenario in Intel is probably 37-ish. I don't necessarily think this turns into a massive double top and Intel just goes careening lower, although it could. Theoretically, you think it's possible. Even if it does that, eventually it'd come back up higher. I think a good pullback in the 35 makes sense, but eventually Intel will make its new all-time high. Shopify. Shout outs to one of my coaching students up in there in Montreal who I get to meet when I'm up in Montreal, June 22nd. Joel, playing Shopify today on the TSX. I don't think he played it on the NYSE. But Shopify, just a strong bullish trend, 302.26. I've been having that as my target for a while. I did not think it would hit this early, but I'm always like to be surprised by how quickly something can move. So Shopify, putting in some work. Good trend. Here's the 5-minute chart, and I think here's how Joel played Shopify. Nice little bullish candle. A little bit of an upper shadow, entry here, stop there, going with the trend, getting out of some position here, getting out of the rest over here, and he made 0.8 Rs on Shopify. Let me just go look at Shop on the TSX. because that's the one that he played it on. And yep, he either did that or he bought here with a stop there and exited some here and then got out of the rest of the position. So Joel, let me know. But either way, man, good trading on Shopify. That trend is bullish by the dip. Next on the list is Home Depot. And Home Depot on the daily chart had an interesting gap down yesterday. Yeah, I know it's pronounced Home Depot. And you have a bearish high wave candle today. My thoughts on Home Depot is really we're just hanging out at the 200 and 100. Inside candle, good volume, could break in either direction, but bullish makes the most sense. The weekly chart on Home Depot, the 100 simple is coming into town. This is a long-term buy low, sell high, dividend-paying blue chip stock. And for the most part, like the general market, you have this really weird resistance, potential crazy, massive head and shoulders thing that's building up, although I don't think it really turns into a head and shoulders. So looking at it on the daily chart, I mean, just it looks good with this bearish high wave candle off of the long terms, and we'll see if it can pop higher, which it very well could. We shall see. Next on the list is VERI. Had a trader who said he missed this trade by just a few pennies. I like the looks of this one. Veritone on the weekly chart took out its IPO low. It's really good support at 744. I like it when stocks do that. And we're making a little bit of a higher high, breaking above the weekly moving averages. If the stock pulls back into $8 and some change, I think this would be a really nice buy the dip opportunity. Start watching this one. I am going to keep this on our list. We're going to look at it tomorrow afternoon for Transportation Thursday and kind of plan what type of dip buy we can play on this one. But the trend overall is starting to shape up and it looks really nice. So who was that? Was that Mark? I believe so. Either Mark or his brother was reaching out to me on that one. Nice move, good volume, looks good on Veritone. Just a few left. Lowe's was pretty much the bearish gap and go of the day. Absolutely phenomenal bearish gap, although it is a dividend gap. That is totally correct. Not a dividend gap, I'm sorry. An earnings gap on a blue chip stock that pays dividends. It was just right in that sweet spot. That 4 to 12% range. Yesterday's candle made a higher high and a higher low with increased volume, and we just barely gapped below that pivot and barely gapped down below those long-term moving averages. Shout outs to my good friend Joe Sidoti, also a coaching student of mine who has come down to Nashville and worked with me before in the past. Traded lows like a boss. Entry here, stop there, bullish high wave candle on a 3-minute chart. Doesn't get much easier than that. I don't know if he exited anything at the pre-market low or not. He probably took off like, a tenth or so of his position, but anyway, nice little move on lows and good gap. So from here, we probably could get a little bit of a lower low on lows at some point, maybe trading into the 100 simple, possibly a little bit lower, but again, lows, long-term dip buying opportunity. This particular trend, though, most likely tomorrow you'll get a little bit of buying on it, something like this, and then eventually some lower lows, I think, based on this gap, because it is pretty gnarly. Nordstrom, a lot of retails getting hit hard today, folks, and Nordstrom, one of the reasons that this did not gap and go as nicely as Lowe's did is because it is at a 52-week low. It actually hasn't been this low on Nordstrom in a little bit longer than that. Yeah, 9 years. So a 9-year low on a blue chip dividend paying stock, even though it was a gap and go, some people are going to buy it down here to try to get that dividend and try to get that long-term dollar cost average. I would not personally recommend that for a long-term trade, at least on Nordstrom. But you did have some bearish opportunities out there. A breakdown here, stop above here, could have worked out okay. Would have won very, very small on Nordstrom. I watched it all day. Never found a trade that I personally want to trade on it, and that's absolutely okay. Nordstrom, keep your eyes on this one, folks. This is a pretty gnarly gap, breaking some really interesting support, and retail is just having a heck of a time right now. If it's not Amazon, and if it's not Target, and if it's not Walmart, it looks like it's going lower. Next on the list is a few more. Caterpillar. My buddy Robert Meek looking at going long on Caterpillar. And you have a little bit of a morning star reversal on Caterpillar today. Here's the weekly chart, and you did have a gap down this week and kind of an instant buying opportunity. If you're playing Caterpillar down here bullish, I think it's going to be best for a longer term play because you still do have some lower highs to contend with, and you have a bit of higher lows. They're a little ugly, but you could draw something like that on Caterpillar, which that just tells me since we're in between so many moving averages, we're going to chop around for a bit on Caterpillar. Not a lot's going to happen. If you do go long down here on Cat, it makes tons of sense to me. Blue chip dividend type of play. But just buy low, sell high. Be very patient on it. Probably going to go in with shares or longer term calls. And of course, if we get a little bit of a bounce and trade back up to here, that's a solid move on Caterpillar. PAYX, PAYX. Look at this trend. PAYX, money. Straight up running. Broke out of its 2000 tech bubble high back in 2015. Perfect retest right here in April of 2018. Another good retest back in December. And since then has just been straight up moon Lambo. If you're looking at playing PAYX, I would just simply say buy the dip. I guess that's pretty much it. Wouldn't buy it right now because this is the highest that it's ever been of all, forever and ever. But, you know, overall the trend looks nice. Paycheck looks pretty. Another retail that's just getting absolutely smoked is Urban Outfitters. So Urban Outfitters does not pay a dividend. And the difference between Urban Outfitters and Nordstrom is immense. The gap on these two, this gap is perfect. The gap on Nordstrom was only okay. If I put them side by side, hopefully you can see some obvious distinctions and differences between the two. Nordstrom, a great gap, but really, really big, right? Far away from its previous lows. Urban Outfitters just barely gapping down below these recent lows. So if Nordstrom would have opened here, it would have been a much, much better gap, but it did not. So Urban Outfitters gapping just barely below that low, not being a dividend-paying stock. This was a really good shorting opportunity. And again, when I say really good, I mean you would have made some money on it, unquestionably. I know my buddy Brad was looking at playing this one, and he was looking at shorting some pullbacks around on this candle that came in at 9:21 Central. So anyway, that was a great gap on Nordstrom and Urban Outfitters. Both were pretty fun to check out. Last but not least, Tesla. I don't know what's happening on Tesla, boys and girls, but what I can say at this point is if Tesla closes, I mean, we got another hour in the market, but if Tesla closes below these two candles, I would not be bullish on Tesla. Well, let me rephrase. You can be bullish on Tesla, that's fine. Just have some protection because the monthly 100 simple moving average is at 189.21. So we're going to hit there pretty much tomorrow morning if we close below these supports. From there, I think we could make it down to 175. That would be a break below all of these lows from this channel that formed, you know, from 2014 to 2017. There is blood in the streets right now on Tesla. This bad boy is down 50%. The bounce is around the corner, I think. I don't know how much lower it's going to go before it bounces. Today, I did look at a bullish trade a lot of the day, and here's the 5-minute chart. I actually missed really early this morning the bullish pop on Tesla because I was just too slow. And I would have exited this one for an R right here, R and some change. So this is pretty much just bracket trading this candle that occurred right before market open. So I was trying to set that up and it just popped, and I would have gotten out right here for 1.2, 1.3 Rs on Tesla because obviously the trend is bearish, right? So that gapped down. It gapped down this morning, immediately faded, and then once it closed below the low of this bullish candle right here, there's no way you could have been bullish on Tesla intraday. Especially since it closed 10:30 Eastern, shaved bottom candle with increasing volume. And not only did it close below, it retested it, broke lower, retested it, broke lower. Shout outs to my good buddy Alberto. We were in the trading room just about an hour ago, and we were setting up a trade on Tesla. He snagged an R on that guy with some put options. He traded that one just like this. Very simple, actually. Evening star reversal pattern off of the 10 and the 20. He bought a put on the pullback. He had a stop up here, and he got out there for an R. Nice trade on Tesla. A close below 195.06 today, folks, and I truly have no idea the bottom on Tesla. Protect yourself if you want to. Buy some puts if you want to. And if you have these put sales that a lot of people are in that are very far away from the price, again, some people are in 165s, 150s, 130s for, July and lower. We'll see. July is far away. Tesla is pretty low. A bounce, I think, is going to happen at some point. But could it go much lower? Sure. There's blood in the streets on Tesla. I will be keeping an eye out for along at some particular point in time in the future, but right now is not that exact moment in time on Tesla. All right, folks, that about does it for me. A beautiful review. Actually, sorry, there's another trade that I took I forgot to share. It was the E-minis last night. Right here. So again, this was posted at 8:13 p.m. and this was the bullish trade set up on the futures. 2864.50 by 2859.50, and so that was a 5-point stop, and then it just kind of popped. Got out of that one for about 0.7 Rs. So again, I lost 0.48 on SPY. I pretty much broke even on a bearish trade that I took on Activision. That bearish trade was got in here, stop was up here, and got out right there for a penny loss. So broke even on Activision, more or less. Lost 0.48 Rs on SPY. Made 0.7 Rs on the E-minis last night. Up marginally for the day. 0.22 Rs. 12.3 Rs for the month of May. I don't think I'm going to hit my 30 R goal, but I can tell you at this point in time, I will not go below 8 Rs for the month of May. Pinterest had a bearish trade set up on it. Doesn't look like it's going to trigger. Beautiful bearish gap and go. Nice gap fill attempt, and then a beautiful rollover on Pinterest. She's going to go lower, it looks like, and how low will Pinterest go? I'm not entirely sure. It's going to go a little bit lower, though. $20 put sale for June. If we get put some shares at 20, hey, why not? Buy low, sell high, turn around, do some covered calls. I really do like Pinterest longer term, and I'll be keeping a very close eye on this one as well. All kinds of cool stuff out there happening. Flying into Port St. Lucie tomorrow morning early. I'll be getting up at about 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, getting down to Port St. Lucie, getting ready for the Money Grows on Trees live event. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, love life, live life, and trade it. I'll see you on Friday with your trade review. You rock. Bye. Boom. That's it. Wednesday stock review wrapped up, delivered for you. Thank you for watching. Make sure to click that subscribe button because I do this 3 times every single week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I have more coming next week. I have so much content, and I want you to check out this video right here because if you like this one, you'll love that one. You rock.